Hope everybody's having a good day. Happy Tuesday, for what it's worth. Um, just want to say I still do have my cough going, so bear with me. It's just sticking with me. I just cannot get rid of the sucker. All right, cool. All right, so let's get started. So this is the second episode of Artefact. It's a solo role-playing game. Pardon me. By Mousehole Press, and it's pretty cool. It's a game in which you, the solo RPer, take on the role of a sentient magical item. Last week I did my first, which was I was a drum. This one I am boots, magical boots. So I figure we'll just jump into things, kind of get going. Let's see here. So take you over here. And oops, I totally forgot to get my, what you call it going? Web captioner. Give me just a moment, please. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna put this over here. So, all right, let's get started. So, where are we at? So, this is the category of footwear. I chose boots. Why not? I think magic sandals have been overdone a little bit. So, let's just go with this. We're good. Let's see here. So, uh, let's start with you were crafted with exquisite materials by a fabled cobbler. Describe them in the workshop. Add a trait that lets your keepers reach places otherwise inaccessible. Then add two more traits describing your item and draw it. And again, I'm not going to draw it right now. Eventually, when I kind of put out, kind of not publish, but make my items available, I'll make a drawing and I'll pop it in there. But for now, for the purposes of this stream, I'm just going to do the thing, and we'll do that later. So let's take a look at traits. First, figure out what's going on. So suggested traits for the footwear are swift, winged, heavy, stealthy, swashbuckling, polished, vegan, interesting, comfortable, sturdy, resilient, striking, healed, stylish, bouncy, bickering, mismatched, insulated, gripping, elegant, and dynamic. Let's see here. I'm going to say that, let's see here. Let's use swift and elegant. I have some things I want to do with this. I think I kind of want, I didn't kind of look at the artifact creation page for this because I kind of wanted to surprise myself. I want to do this from scratch. So, yeah, I think swift and elegant are the two that I'm going for. So let's go ahead and excuse me. All right. So close, so close. Sorry. Come on. Okay, 1 second. That's better. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, better. All right, well, let's go with this. So yeah, let's start with traits. And again, this is going to be swift and elegant. So item creation. I was created by a famed cobbler. So let's go with that. And let's see here. All right, so okay, gotta get in a character. I'm the boots. I am the boots. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so let's see. I was created by Civius Nu, a famed cobbler in the city of Calamon. There you go. I'm making this all up. All right, let's see here. Waited for his daughter, who had fallen in love with a monk from the nearby monastery. Her love was so strong that she could not be without him, could not be without seeing his face for more than a few days. The monastery close enough, however, was built into an inaccessible cliffside. Those who came and went had to go through a gate and into a tunnel that wove up through the mountainside to the top. Civius took Curious? Really? Civius. Oh my god, why are you doing this, autocorrect? I don't want that. Yeah, okay. Civius. Let's see here. Took picture on his daughter and created myself one of once in a lifetime. Ooh, once in a lifetime feat. I was made of the finest virgin leather and was wrapped with enchanted garlands. Sure. So let's see here. So let's look at who the first bearer is, or first keeper. I always say bearer, but it's keep. It could be it's keeper in the book. So let's take a look. All right. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to add one trait that makes them get areas that are inaccessible, and two more traits. So I'm actually going to add to that. So let's see. So swift, elegant, and Swift, elegant, and gripping. That's interesting. Let's go with gripping. That kind of goes with the theme. Okay. All right, so we've done that. So let's go to the newly forged. All right. Let's see. All right. So technically we have only a few things to choose from. So let's see here. Let's see. So yeah, let's go with again. I kind of created this with the idea that I should have actually looked at the keepers first. Give me like kind of a better idea. But let's go with what I got. So, this woman couldn't be a noble. I don't feel like she needs to be a revolutionary leader or folk hero. So let's do the rogue without a master. Okay. All right. Let's see. Valerian New. Rogue without a master. All right. All right, so you picked the Rogue with a Master. We're going to answer two questions. What marks them as a soul unburdened by servitude? And how did you help them pull off their boldest stunt? So again, I'm kind of bringing this back to the kind of what I had in mind. But let's go with it. All right. And let's just kind of expand on this. Doctor of Sivius New. The cobbler. In love with a monk from the local monastery named, let's see here, Cal. So what marks him? What marks him as a soul unburdened by servitude? I'm going to say that. So, Valerian. Valerian pushes aside cultural norms and insists on finding her own way in a world where women of intellect and what's the word? Ambition find it difficult to find their place in the world. Okay, well, we'll maybe edit that later to sound a little nicer. The fact that her lover is attempting to achieve a higher sense of being and become closer to the divine means little to her, though at the same time she would not take away his dream. It is enough to see his face at a distance. Alright, how'd you pull off the boldest stunt yet? So I'm imagining these are like speed shoes, speed boots, and they do the whole flash thing where you hit the um, when you kind of run so fast you can actually go up the side of things. Plus, gripping is another of the traits, so it's kind of like taking her up. So let's see. Sebulba's stunt is once when spotted by the guardians of the monks, she ran between them, dodging arrows and sling stone the entire time. To this day, they do not know who the interloper was or what they were doing on the monastery grounds. All right. Okay, so we've answered our questions about our individual here. So let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, so we described the keeper, answered the keeper's questions. Next step is to choose from one of the tables, 29 or 30, which is the let's see here, victories and valor, or neglect and mischief. Let's see here. So choose something from the below, answer the questions, and change something as you grow notorious, proud, or legendary. I'm going to go with victories. I think this is seeing your lover and still respecting their wishes is noble. So that nobility mostly gets rewarded. Sometimes, I'm sure at some point we're going to see like the most valorous end up in mischief or the item neglected, etc. Let's see here. Um, let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so this makes sense. So, a stronghold of great importance was attacked by a dreadful, monstrous horde. How did you help your keeper drive off the fearsome assailants? I think that fits in perfectly. All right. Okay. So, yeah, this actually fits real well. The monastery being the stronghold of great importance. Um, let's see. Out of the blue, the monastery, never gonna spell it right, was attacked by a warband from the neighboring kingdom. Humans who had delved into dark magic. They attacked the monastery, seeking the power and knowledge within. The gate was taken with almost no effort on the part of the warband. The defenses lax and the defenders overconfident in the fortifications. Let's see. Valerian used her speed to disarm this the those raiders who lagged behind, and then dropped them at the feet of their leader, Casmian. When he turned, he found his entire warband without weapons. And though he was a strong and fearsome warrior, he knew that against the remaining defenders, monks, he no longer posed a threat. He retreated along with his men, but marked the woman in his mind. Let's see. As they retreated, the monks came upon Valerian and saw her, the monks, including her love, came upon Valerian as the warband retreated. Monks came Valerian and saw her for but an instant before she sped away. Ooh, pretty cool. All right, so let's see so we have to change something as you grow notorious, proud, or legendary. Let's see. So detail about the physical appearance, or could do a response. I like the idea that this act somehow like this valorous act somehow empowers the boots. Thereafter, the boots would seem to have a sheen and glow to them. That most... Oh, I keep forgetting. I'm the boots. I'm not telling a story from anyone else's point of view. I keep forgetting I'm the artifact. Thereafter, my surface carried a special sheen to it, and I glowed ever so faintly. So yeah, I just want to go back. Used my speed to kind of, again, I totally wasn't getting in character. Let's see here. Mart, my keeper. Okay, cool. Alrighty. So so something changed. That's good. Let's see. Choose an option below, answer questions, and change something. All right. Okay. So we've done that. So let's go back to the newly forged. All right, so answer artifact. Okay, so now I answer an artifact question. So let's answer that. Go to the footwear. All right, so an artifact question. Ooh, interesting. So it never occurred to me that boots, I mean, there are two things. They could be two separate creatures. I'm gonna say there is a singular intelligence between them. So let's do this question. Okay. All right. Okay. I am but a singular intelligence without, let's see, one boot is as a part of the other as the mortals' bodies are one. Works for me. Cool. All right, so I've answered artifact question. All right, so consider how the keeper loses you. So I will say, let's see here. Keeper. Okay. Let's see here. So Casmian never did forget this slight. One day he came, unluckily for Valerian, upon her while she was sleeping up against a tree, and I was but lying beside her. Unshod, she was defenseless, as much as she was surprised when when the brigand attacked. She died under his blade, and her last thoughts were of her love and how she wished him enlightenment. Boom. So, how much time passes? Let's see here. Let's see. All right, so try to figure out. Let's say oh, just a week passes. So let's see. So so a week passes. Basically, he will take me because he knows that I'm some kind of magical item, and give me to someone or sell them. So let's do that. Let's see. Okay. I rest for a week before another keeper takes me up. All right. So 10 seconds. I have to go get my phone, so I have my little countdown timer, but 10 seconds I can do. All right, 10 seconds. So as part of the game, as the item is waiting for a new keeper, the game asks you to kind of take that time out to basically clear your mind. It's as if you're that item, just kind of watching time fly by. You know, I still think, as I did with the original, the drum from my last session, I firmly believe, and I think it's a good thing to go with, that because I, as the item, this magical item, am sentient and generally speaking immortal, you know, time slips by. It just goes. You know, it's almost as if you blink and your keeper might be gone. So again, this is kind of time where, you know, it feels like 10 seconds to me, but it was, you know, a week in real life, you know. So let's continue onward. All right, so my second keeper is going to be a young noble. Someone with money. Let's see. Lucinda. A young noble. Okay. Lucinda. Oops. Turn it. All right. Lucinda, in line to be the next Duchess of Corvinia. Bought me from a traveling merchant. I'd spent a week in a sack before being sold for a fraction of what I'm worth to the merchant, and in turn resold to Lucinda. I was a gift to herself, and she couldn't help but marvel at my glow and the power she felt as she tried me on for the very first time. Okay. So let's answer the questions. All right. All right. Describe the landed family you're descended from. Lucinda is, as noted, the future Duchess of the Corvinia Duchy. Her family line goes back 11 generations. 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 to a hero knighted on the battlefield by his liege and later given landed rights. Alright. How are you used in the nobles' cutthroat politics? Ooh, interesting. And again, this is kind of just all off the top of my head. I specifically haven't looked at these because I I just want to be surprised myself and kind of impromptu created on the spot. Of course, there's gonna be a repetition. There's only like 4 keeper types per era of the item, so there will be, as I go through this and to each item, there will be repetition. But my hope is that each one will be new and different, which is important. All right. So, all right. Let's see. Lucinda used my speed to trade trade on the market of goods, going from city to city and town to town to take in the supply, both take in both the supply and demand of various goods, and using it to her advantage in money making and local politics, giving her an edge in both. Cool. Okay, so that is, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. So describe characterization, answer the keeper's questions. All right. So now we'd have to decide: does Lucinda get to roll on the kind of victory table, victory and Valerie's and victories and valor table, or neglect and mischief? I'm going to say neglect and mischief. She's already taken kind of a turn. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh, this is an interesting one. All right. So, let's see here. Let's get this down. Huh. All right. This is a really cool question. Again, we already established that I'm a single entity under 2 items, if you will. All right. So you were broken, split, or torn in 2 pieces by your keeper, intentionally or otherwise. How did this happen, and how are you made whole again? So let's see. Well, my keeper, Lucinda, valued my power. When not using it, she was careless with me. 1/2 of me was taken by a wash maid on accident, and then out to the local stream to be cleaned, while my other half was left behind. I would never have imagined the agony of being separated from half of me. I was let's see the let's see, the part of me by the river was left behind, equally on accident. It took 3 weeks non-stop searching for Lucinda and her hired help to find my other half and make me whole again. I cursed her for her neglect in this. Nice. All right. Let's see here. So let's change a detail. So again, I think there's something to be said about I mean, again, just change the appearance. I think that works well here. Due to one half of me being left in the wild and the water for so long, I will be forever of different shades, one half to another. All right, so let's see here. Okay. All right, so let's go back to here. So let's see here. So we've come back from that table. Next is to answer an artifact question. So let's see here. Interesting. Another devolved question here, potentially. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. All right. Okay. So the pair of you are immortal and you always have each other, or I always have me in this case. What is most strange to you about the bonds of mortals? Interesting. Let's see. I was created in 2 parts that together are one whole. Mortals, however, are so very different. It seems that each is created. Each appears to be whole, but in actuality, they spend their lives searching for their other half to truly make them whole. They call it love. I call it only natural. Cool. I like that. All right. All right. So we've answered the artifact question. Now we get to consider how the keeper loses you. Let's see here. All right. Time passes, and what is my keeper's name again? Lucinda. It's so interesting. It's like, what is my keeper's name? I've known her for just a few seconds, but that's in magic item time, not mortal time. Lucinda is finds her other half and bears children. One of them takes me from her. Takes me from the place in their mother's room where I am stored on a pedestal and dons me. But they are yet young and do not understand my power. The youth runs off of a cliff before even realizing that the ground ended before them, and I am lost. I'm gonna say it's gonna be for more time. Yeah, no, we have to do time. Let's say a decade. Yeah, decade works. So I'll be resting for 1 minute. So I'm just gonna be right back. Gonna run and get my phone so I can have my little countdown timer. So hold tight, be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's set my countdown for a minute. And again, if you'll indulge me, I'm just going to follow the instructions and kind of the instructions actually read to as you rest, think about silence and solitude of abandonment. Excuse me. I shall do that. Here we go. 1 minute. 1 minute. So as I kind of mentioned last session, it's kind of interesting that solitude thing, or you're kind of just listening to the silence as you're abandoned, and it's like when you first close your eyes. I mean, a minute seems like a really quick time when you're doing something. It's a long time when you're not doing anything, it seems. So I like as I kind of close my eyes and meditate, basically, I'm half kind of relaxed and just thinking of time passing. And part of me is kind of anticipating that minute, and it just doesn't come. And it's like I can imagine how the item would be just very much like that, anticipating when they're found again. And it's only, you know, it happens when it happens. So anyway, so we're back. So it's been a decade. Okay, I am lost for a decade. All right. So we move to the second kind of era of me. Um, we're going to the A Time of Glory. So it's basically a different set of potential keepers and some other things that can happen. So let's see here. Okay, so I have 4 choices. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's go with this is a tough one. Again, I'm trying to think of what it would, I suppose it really doesn't matter. I, as the item, really don't have a choice. I would almost, you know, roll this randomly, but let's go with an all-conquering warlord. Let's just go there. All right, keeper, and that's my third keeper. Vrak, an all-conquering warlord. Okay, so Vrak on a let's see, what's the word we're kind of going to fight somebody on on the war trail. Go with that. Came upon the base of the cliff where I lie and found the skeleton of the youth. Myself being the only item of clothing still intact. He took me in his hands and felt the same power in me that other keepers had, and knew that I would help him win his battles. So let's do the questions. All right. So describe their empire and the armies they rule with. Their empire, let's see, so Vrak's empire, it seems, was made up of outcasts from other kingdoms. Those deemed too dangerous to live in a civil society. 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 He took them in and gave them both discipline and direction. With these two weapons, his armies ravaged the countryside and established his realm. How did you help them establish your mighty dominion? Let's see. Miscreants and criminals are an interesting bunch. They are difficult to find and even more difficult to gather up, as in Rack's army. My speed allowed him to cross land and water, because I'm that fast, it's like skipping stone, to find and then guide these people to a single encampment where they trained, plotted, and would eventually unleash themselves onto the world. All right. How did you help them establish their mighty dominion? All right. All right, we answered the keeper's questions. Now we get to choose from the tables. Even though this is a is kind of a bad evil guy, I think I'm going to roll in the victories and valor table. It's already been established he's doing great because of me. And why shouldn't he? Because I'm freaking powerful. Mobility in military is key. It's almost everything. Cool. So let's see. So victories and valor. Let's see. Let's see here. I'm also trying not to do exactly what I did last session with the drum. Oh, interesting. Okay. Here we are. This is one I haven't done, and I feel good reusing, or not reusing, but using in this one. So, all right. So yeah. Okay. So okay. All right. A great warrior is trapped in an impossibly tall tower by an evil sorcerer. What did your keeper owe them? Why did your keeper owe them their life, and how did you help free them? And this is an interesting one because it's totally about what I was originally made for. When word came to my keeper that a local hero who once fought alongside him was trapped by an evil sorcerer. Or was it? Is evil a point of view in this case? Maybe. Let's see. I felt through him that he would be fighting to free this man. Finding the tower, it was a simple matter for me to lend him my power to speed up the side of the tower itself, reminiscent of the cliffside monastery on a monastery that I had helped my former keeper climb earlier in my existence. Right. Okay, we'll leave that. The battle that ensued was, needless to say, quick and to the point. Myself being quick and the point being embedded in the chest of the sorcerer. Rack had freed his friend. Nice. All right, so in addition to that, we'll get to choose something. Let's answer a question. Or do we change a trait? Let's answer a question. So let's go back to the footwear. Oh, this is a good one. Over time, you gain a name or honorific. What is it and why? Let's see. Due to stories of the wizard battle in the tower, I became known as, let's see, Swift Ascendant. Sure. Oops. Cool. All right. So let's see. So we've done that. Let's see. Answer another artifact question. Ooh. Good one. Okay. So your keeper was snared in a nefarious trap set by brutes. But with your help, they escaped. Now the story is a popular legend. What do people get grievously wrong in the storytelling? Or in the retelling of the story? I'll say, though my power is great, the truth of the matter is that the brutes who set upon my keeper were fewer than 10. and not the hundreds that are told in the tale. I have to think, yeah, like a warlord has to exaggerate when things aren't as cool as they could be. All right, and now we're at that time where um, consider how the keeper loses you. So let's do that. All right. All right. Um, hmm. How the keeper loses you. That is a good one. I will say. Oh, that's a good one. So eventually, all warlords find their end in war. As Vrax's body was torn asunder to have the pieces of him displayed throughout the neighboring kingdom, his feet were, with me on them, myself on them, were both taken to rest in the city hall of the capital. All right. So Vrak, sorry, my good man, you died. All right. All right, we're on my. So, okay, how much time do I wait for the next keeper? So, times get longer as you go on in eras. So, before it was like immediately a day, a week, a month, a year. Now we're looking at a month, a year, a decade, a century, centuries, millennium. Um, hmm. I'm gonna say, let's see. I'm gonna say it's actually let's go for it. Let's go for century. So actually, so now we're getting into some other stuff. So rest for 2 minutes. So we'll be doing that. But first, let's choose once on. You have to choose on a different table. So dust and rust, or shifts and currents. Let's see here. So shifts and currents is the sun turns, empires rise and fall, and heroes fade to memory. Um, so there's that. And let's see here. Shifts and currents, or dust and rust is the other one. So muck and murk, tarnish metal, and slow and inevitable erosion. Um, hmm. I think I'm gonna save that one for some time. Let's do shifts and currents. This makes more sense as to what I'm working with, I think. Oh, interesting. Let's do this one. This makes a lot of sense. So we're now almost to the next keeper. So let's do this. All right. So you're collected and cataloged by municipal institution. Through excessive bureaucracy and pen pushing, you are lost in their arcane system. Where do you eventually emerge? So, um, as time passes and my former keeper's flesh decays inside of me, I sit in a glass covered box for all to see. In time, though, the import of my of Rack's wrongdoings are lost to the sands of time, and before I realized it, no one cared. My box was eventually put away in a basement and forgotten for an entire century. All right, so let's do the resting. Yeah, so I'm going to rest for 2 minutes. Let's put that on my timer. So bear with me as I follow the instructions of the game. I'll be resting for 2 whole minutes, and again, maybe close your eyes and rest with me. See if you get that same feeling I do, and I'll tell you when to awake. As I, the boots, swift descendant, awake again. All right, we're starting 2 minutes. That's time. All right. So that century has passed. I think I kind of want to comment on the passing of time as you're kind of like just meditating or closing your eyes. For time of glory, it's as you rest, think about the weight of every passing day, growing imperceptibly with each sunset. So it's like, yes, 2 minutes. It's like there's that party that's kind of just relaxing and letting time go by. There's another time it's like, wow, is this ever going to finish? Did I set the timer wrong? It's like 2 minutes seems like a long time when you're doing nothing but thinking. So very interesting to note. It very helps you get into character, by all means. Okay. So let's see here. So we have one more keeper in this age, and then we go to the last. Be interesting. A little foreshadowing there. All right, so we're still in a time of glory. So my glory days. So I'm going to say that my next keeper is a righteous champion. Let's see here. Let's get their thing done. Verity. Verity. Just wants to do it. Let's see here. Undo. Okay. So Verity, righteous champion. Okay. Verity finds me after a very long search for me. Which is flattering, to say the least. It is sad that it took this long for such a soul to find me. She is on a quest from her church and God, and I am to be an integral part of it. All right, let's do the questions. Right. All right, so what are the religious order's goals? The goals of the Shining Order are to let's see. Bring the word of the Oracle, their God, to all, and to wipe out evil wherever it may lie. Evil, however, is a hard to define term and can certainly depend on one's point of view. One's warlord is another's hero. A little foreshadowing, probably. How did you help them complete an epic quest? Let's see here. Let's see. A large group of harpies were laying waste to an entire village. A village that had no hope of fighting back, as the harpies' nests were so high so as to be unattackable. I changed that. Once the field of battle was leveled, so to speak, Verity, dispatch them in the treetops with very little effort. Besides me, ooh, I didn't think this. She carries another item of magic, a mace. A mace. A beautiful item inlaid with silver. Oh, did I misspell inlaid? Really? Inlaid? Okay, apparently. Inlaid with silver. So as to nearly match my own handsomeness. For powerful magic item, you gotta be a little, you know, egotistic every now and then. That makes sense. Alright. Alright, so we have our righteous champion. We've described the keeper and our acquisition, answered the keeper's questions, and let's choose from some tables. Let's see here. Let's see. Ooh. This is gonna maybe answer the next question: how do you get lost? But let's look at this first. All right. So you intentionally deceived. I'm taking the neglect and mischief table. So you intentionally deceived or refused to help your keeper, leading to their demise. What took place and why did you act in that way? So this will also answer the question, how did I get lost? All right. On one mission, Verity found herself outnumbered and injured, even with my help. Through my time with her, I learned the ways of her order and knew that evil must be stomped out at any cost. Yes, she could defeat this evil, but also yes, evil, but also yes, but also she would have to sacrifice herself to do so. She found fear in her heart and retreated and attempted to make her way over a large lake halfway across. I punished her for her cowardice and sunk to the bottom along with her as she cursed me with her last gasps of breath before sinking and dying and ceasing. It's called that. All right. I'm getting kind of efficient with this, so I think this might get shorter. Let's see here. So let's see. So you know what? This might be, given that I'm actually kind of ahead of my schedule. Again, I'm generally planning a 3-hour stream. Let's see where I'm going with this, and we'll maybe try something new. But okay, so that was my last keeper in this age of me. All right. So we're gonna move to the time. And we're gonna actually go, let's see here. We're gonna go for centuries. So that's would normally be 3 minutes. But yeah, so we're gonna roll on Dust and Rust, I think. Let's see here. So I'm basically under the water for centuries. So we're going to do a little side bit that's in here, like a expansion to Artefact, and see how that goes. I haven't done it yet, so let's see what we have. So first of all, let's roll on the Dust and Rust table. All right. So underwater for centuries, even as a magic item, you gotta be fading or something. Gold and silver dull, iron rusts, colors fade to a sepulchral gray. What would your critters say if they saw you now? My luster has faded, though the glow is still there. The ivy that grew upon me has now hardened to the is now calcified, just as the reef under me has done. I am not the same. All right, so let's bring this other part out. Let's see here. Give me a second. Okay. So this is called Burrows and Bloodlines. So basically, here's the introduction. So since I have a great deal of time here, might as well watch what happens on the bottom of this lake. So when playing Artifact, you might choose the following prompt while resting between keepers. I'm going to do this in lieu of the 3 minutes. So a colony of small creatures nest close to where you rest. You become obsessed with their daily routines and little politics watching generations pass. Describe them. Do you see their downfall, or are you recovered by a keeper? So instead of simply describing the creatures and their changed society, you can use this game to play out their history across generations while you wait. So it's kind of like a mini game within the game. So, setup. What kind of environment is the colony situated in? So let's see. Let's do this. All right. Okay. All right. So what kind of environment is the colony situated in? Let's see. Let's see. As I lay waiting, I watch the life develop around me with great interest. So what kind of environment is the colony living within? The colony is under the lake nearby an ocean inlet. It is natural, and I find myself lying on rock, upon a large rock with many holes at its bottom. Let's see. Alrighty. Right. What kind of pardon me. What kind of creatures live in your colony? They must be numerous and hierarchical in their organization. I'm gonna say let's go with hermit crabs. Have found a place in this lake bed. They um let's see, their organization is based on the size and colorfulness of one's shell. Only the largest and brightest rise to lead to only the brightest rise to choose their mates. Beware, if one is too weak, they will be crushed under a great shell. Cool. So yeah, you can imagine like just basic, animal behavior. You know, the prettiest gets to choose the mate, the most important, the etc. So what resources do they need to survive? Let's see here. Get that down there. And I actually have some choices here. I didn't use them in the first two, but I don't think it's really important. Use whatever comes to you. All right. So, yeah, what two sources do they need, resources do they need to survive? Write down one resource is in abundance and two that are scarcities. So let's see. For pardon me. For resources, let's say I'm going to say they're carrion eaters. So carrion will be the great abundance. There's always something dying on the bottom of the lake. Carrion is in great supply. Warmth, they need warmth to survive, and that can kind of be difficult sometimes. In defenses, so like, or should it be defenses is the resource that's the big one? Because I think the rock is what I'm going with. Let's do, yeah, defenses is the major, and carrion and warmth are scarcities. let's see here. Defense within the crannies of the rock upon which I lie are in abundance. So the carrion that they eat to survive can be as scarce as the warmth that they require to go about their days. All right. All right, so the next part is, okay, so we basically established the basic colony here. So now we're in the playing the game stage. We follow the development of the colony through the lens of the generations that pass. So again, this is through centuries of me as this item being down there, and I'm just kind of watching the development of these creatures, the them getting better, smarter, etc. So we follow the development of the colony through the lens of generations that pass. For each generation, follow these steps. Let's see here. Okay, so we have, let's see, how many minutes of rest did we say we were going to do here? Hold on. Because that depends how many, like, how long, how many, generations we see. So 3 minutes is what I said. So 3 generations is what we're going over here. So let's do that. Let's see. For each generation, choose a project. Each generation will have a defining project ready for to improve the colony. Choose a role from the table overleaf if desired. All right. So the project for generation 1 is, let's see. Let's see here. How about an alliance? This is interesting. All right, so there's an alliance that they're looking to form. Let's see here. I'm not rolling any dice for this one, so I'm going to say it becomes a boon. Let's see here. Let's see. Outcome. Roll from the corresponding. Okay, so the project is Generation 1. The project is form an alliance with the warm-blooded creatures of the lake, giving them shelter in the rock in exchange for their heat. All right. Let's see here. Okay. So, boon, create abundance or remove a scarcity. So let's remove the scarcity of warmth. Because of their alliance formed with the otters of the area, heat is no longer an issue to them. All right. Let's see. All right, so the next stage is makes changes to the resources of your colony as instructed by the table. Let's see. Which table? Make changes to the resources of your colony as instructed by the table. I am trying to find what the hell it's referring to. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So basically it's reacting to the outcome. So yeah, so we already changed the resources. We eliminated the need for warmth because now that's kind of covered by the otters. So craft a nerve using the project in Bane. Consider the story of the colony changes. Blah blah blah. Write a single sentence to describe this generation. All right. All right. Generation 1. They wanted warmth and found it in the most amazing way. They gave and shared, and in return were rewarded with the friendship of the local otters and the warmth thereof. All right, so Generation 1 did pretty well. Generation 2. Let's see. So what is Generation 2's project? Let's see here. I think they're going to build a shrine. Generation 2. Build a shrine to the to keep the gods of luck on their side. You can imagine these little hermit crabs kind of cruising along looking for like jewels and other shinies that have drifted to the bottom of the lake during the years, etc., etc. And then kind of trying to build those into like a shrine or something. So let's see here. So the outcome of a project, I'm going to say this one is a bane. So destroy an abundance or introduce a scarcity. Let's see here. Um, um, I'm gonna say at least a tragedy. They spent their days locating shinies lost to the bottom of the lake and built them into a shrine at the top of the rock on which I lie. But what they didn't plan for was the greed of humans. When humans noticed the shiny things at the bottom of the lake, they began to dive for them and claim them as their own. They also found a love for the taste of tiny crab and a good number of their population were culled. All right, that's generation 2. Will generation 3 do better? We don't know. All right, so generation 3. Let's see. Let's see. So what is the project of generation 3? A really good question. Let's go for um let's see. Let's go. This, as weird as it sounds, let's do farmlands. So I already have something in mind. I'm not going to roll on anything. So let's see. Generation 3. Let's see here. Thought to renew their numbers by creating a better source of their food. Carry on. And this is going to be a bane, foreshadowing. They found if they could build a trap of sticks, fish would find themselves unable to escape and eventually die, then rotting and falling to the lake bed below them. This worked well for a long time, but in their interactions with humans, they had also learned their greed. Before long, they had overfished the lake, even as their numbers grew to an uncountable level. But more mouths require more food, and with the fish gone, they were doomed. While they started off well, humans became more than one part of their downfall. I left them as their large numbers began shrinking, and as the fear of the mass death spread, they realized that there was an answer. The carrion left behind by a dead hermit crab fed them just as well as any other. ... And they became cannibals until they achieved equilibrium and the fish came back, centuries later, etc., etc., etc. Wow, that kind of brought me down there. I did not see that coming. All right, last keeper. So that was the Burrows and Bloodlines mini game within this. So yeah, let's see here. So the keeper's going to arrive. So I already answered the one question. Do you believe their society is aspiring, thriving, or declining, or ruined? And what will be your defining memory of the colony? I think I also answered that. So let's continue on. Now we are in the third act. The ruination, a time of ruination. So let's see here. So my last keepers are going to be, let's see. A pair of treasure seekers. All right. Canvey and Roy. A pair of treasure seekers. All right. Let's see. I'm just going to put the questions down here. We'll get to them. Though the time of the shinies had long since passed, Canvey and Roy heard the legend and decided that surely there was something undiscovered by the mere amateur treasure hunters. They dove below the depths of the lake with breathing apparatus and eventually found me and claimed me as their own. All right, let's do the questions. Okay, describe how they operate despite their mutual distrust. These two were not what one thinks of when the words treasure hunter are brought to mind. Certainly, they'd found me and me as well as some minor treasures in their time, but it was mostly by chance and good luck. As for the powerful items, they survived by a method of sharing. Items of special power would be passed between them at regular intervals. So they both became my keepers after a sense. So yeah, they each distribute between them and share. So can you even if you mistrust somebody, they have the sword now. So and you have the boot, so you know you're both at an impasse. Yeah, let's put that on there. Doing so kept them at an impasse of power. While one would have the sword, the other would have the boots, creating a stalemate between them, in essence. Which one of them ends up with you, and at what cost? Treasure seekers often find themselves in a long abandoned dungeons. And what do I name them? I'll make sure I got their names right. And Kenvi and Roy were no different. Let's see here. Also well known to be found in such dungeons, along with treasure, were traps. On one such outing, Roy was pinned against a wall by a number of spikes. He was slowly dying, but was going to be unable to escape without help. Genvi saw this as a breaking of the stalemate and merely waited out the life of his former partner, eating and drinking in front of the slowly starving and infected Roy until he breathed no more. Fucking treasure hunters. Am I right? All right. So let's go to the next part. All right. So I've answered the questions. Let's put on the neglect and mischief table. Let's see here. Let's see here. It's a tough one. Again, there's not many choices. That's the thing about this game. I wish there were more choices so we could do replays of this more easily. But they're interesting ones. I mean, they can be definitely reused. So all is not lost. But let's do this. I think it's a repeat, but let's do this. Yeah, it's definitely a repeat from my last session, but that's going to happen. All right. I'm going to kind of change it up a little bit. So you're thrown carelessly atop a huge heap of treasure. There was another sentient item within the hoard. What did you learn from this other intelligence, and did you get along? Um, yeah, so, and this kind of lead to the how I lose Canvy. Canvy now holding several items of power in addition to myself, styled himself as a lone wolf. But as I've noted, the luck of the, let's see, two was, in many cases, the only thing keeping them alive. Without his partner, he had only himself and luck that was bound to run out. It did. On one excursion, he was hunting a griffin when the griffin turned the tables and hunted him quite successfully, in fact. The griffin brought him back alive to its hatchlings, or fledglings, they're called fledglings, where no amount of my speed could have saved him from becoming a feast. So there I lie in the griffin's nest, a huge thing, some 15 feet across. I lie next to the bones and twigs and the pieces of let's see, the things that other ill-fated hunters brought with them and which do not decay, namely their magic items. I found myself pressed to a sword for some time. Ooh, you know what? Next to a mace for some time, and was pleasantly surprised to find that it was the same that had been carried by a former keeper. I forget their name. We shared mutual stories as time passed, as it does for mortals, and then shared those stories that came after our separation, which were of great amusement to us both. Here we wait for another keeper who will defeat the griffin, and how many generations of mother of griffin broods will it be before that happens? I am lost. Find me. I'm going to kind of take out the epilogue because I think that goes just perfectly well. And I think there's other questions, but this really solves this story. I'm happy with it. I'm going to leave it here. So wow. So the boot's known as Swift Ascendant. Come a long way, baby. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this one. It was I'm kind of, again, I'm not reading any of the questions, etc. I'm not studying anything so that I'm surprised when I come into it. So I did try to make this different than the last story where I was the drum. But I wanted to make, and I think the problem is not a problem. The bigger challenge is finding a different personality for each item, because I don't want to just be the same item over and over again. In essence, I want this to be unique. So I'm certainly trying. So we'll see. I think the next item might have to be like an innately evil one. I've kind of done. The first one was kind of just. The second one, the boots were kind of go with the flow. Excuse me. And maybe the next one has to be evil or something, innately evil or designed for evil or something like that. So we'll have to see. Sorry, I'm getting over this cough and cold, etc. I apologize. All right. So again, a great session. I enjoyed my time with Artefact. We did do the mini game, which I liked. And again, I'm going to continue forward doing other items. I'm going to do every Tuesday on my stream, do a new item until I've done one of every category of them. So there are a good number left. So there are a good number of streams coming on Artifact. So yeah. So let's say goodbye for now. I'm Scott of Scott's Case Files, and I appreciate you joining me. If you're watching me on Twitch, hit my about, and you'll see my various social media stuff. Think about following, so you can be alerted when I stream, and kind of be in your list of followed streamers when you look at Twitch. I am a affiliate now. If you're interested in supporting the stream, definitely think of subscribing. Not necessary, but it may greatly appreciated. If you're watching this on YouTube, definitely subscribe to my channel. The more the merrier. And again, be alerted. Hit the bell to be alerted of when I put out a new video, which is I put out 1 or 2 weekly. And they're mostly my live, my actual play role playing games. So think about that, and I hope that whoever you're watching here out there, that you're doing okay, you're having a great day, a great week, and things continue well for you, that you're good to people, and you go forth and do no harm, and just know that I think you're awesome. So thank you for watching, and take care. Bye for now.